I'm David Lowe, and welcome to Seek Excellence. Today I want to talk with you about principles. What are principles? You hear it throughout our videos, the Seek Excellence videos. You hear us talk about principles. Principles are natural laws that govern mankind. Principles are natural laws, they govern mankind, right? And principles determine what happens to us. Let me give you a couple of them. The principle of gravity, the principle of wind. You can't see either, can you? But what happens if I decide to jump off this building? What's going to happen? I'm going to fall, right? Gravity takes over. Can't see them, but they're powerful forces. That's what principles are. Some people call karma a principle, right? And there is a lot of that. We see a lot of evidence that what goes out comes back. In fact, there's tons of writings, not only in the Bible, but in so many other religious sects that talk about the fact, we'll give you one, a generous man will prosper. He who refreshes others will himself be refreshed. There's something good that happened. The show Friends had that same principle. Joey and Phoebe went out and tried to do a good deed that wasn't a reward. They couldn't get it done. That was that principle. But we know principles in our lives, and if we understand them, we can do amazing things. What can we do? Well, let me tell you this. Let me give you an example. The Wright brothers used the principles of wind and gravity, lift is what it came up with, lift, to fly a plane. Isn't that amazing? They used these principles to learn how to fly a plane. So they got that plane up in the air. Now today, planes don't look anything like they did then, do they? We got supersonic. I'm amazed. I love seeing planes. I'm freaked out every time they take off. I can't believe these huge things get off the ground. But guess what? They're different technology, but the same principles. Different engines, but the same principles. They're all bound still the same, the way the Wright brothers were bound by what? The principles of gravity, right? And wind, right? What we call lift. So here's what I want to tell you. Principles never change, but the techniques we use do. In this case, lift has always been around, but now we have, instead of propeller planes, we have jet, right? Propeller planes, right? It's crazy. The principles don't change, but the techniques do. Now, why is this important? I hear today everybody say what? Oh, business has changed. I'm in the car business, but I hear it from everybody. The shoe store down the street, the bike store. Oh, business has changed, right? And they're saying that the way people do things has changed, and it has. You know, we used to use the newspaper for advertising. Now what do we use? The internet. We used to use the home phone to get a hold of people. Now what do we use? The cell phone. We used to use mail. Now what do we use? Email. As a matter of fact, instead of the phone and home mail, we have email, we have messenger, right? We have text, we have so many ways. There's so many things that have changed. Techniques, the way we shop for things has changed. But you know what? So many things haven't changed. The principles that drive human behavior and performance have not changed. Let me just list a few of them to you. In future weeks, we'll dig down in some of those. I'll tell you, the principle of excellence has never changed. Won't excellence always stand out and demand a higher reward? It does in sports, it does in business, it does in life. You're going to get more when you perform and you work with excellence, meaning you work with your whole heart, with your whole might, right? Hard work, discipline, action. We know all hard work brings a profit. As a matter of fact, hard and smart work is even better, right? So discipline, action. A diligent man will prosper. Solomon said it 3,000 years ago. That principle is still in effect. How about the principle of personal responsibility? Right? This one's hard for a lot of people to accept. You give me, you do for me. That's gone. Personal responsibility has always been here, and we need it now more than ever. Personal responsibility says, I am responsible. I'm responsible for my attitude. I'm responsible for my knowledge, my own skill, and I'm responsible for my daily actions, for my habits, right? I'm responsible for my results in life. Nobody else is. I may not be responsible for the circumstance I find myself in, but I am responsible with what I do within that circumstance that I've been placed in, right? Personal responsibility, personal development. Another one that's fallen by the wayside. It used to be Abraham Lincoln. I heard this a long time ago and I loved it. He said, I will prepare and my chance will come. I love that. As a kid, I used that to prepare for football, learn to play guitar, prepare to play in a band. Whatever I wanted to do, I knew I had to be ready to do it when the opportunity was afforded me, right? Now today people say, give me the job and then I'll learn it. Well, that doesn't work out that way. There's a principle of personal development. If you want to be better, you're going to have to make decisions. I'll tell you about this. There's the principle of relationship and trust. All human interactions that are a benefit, that lift up, that encourage, are based on what? Relationship and trust. Our love and care about are willing to know the other person, appreciate the other person, and value the other person, show interest in them, right? And then there's, of course, the principles of value, desire, and commitment. All these are principles that drive our life. The principle of win-win, whether it be with my neighbor in a dispute over the yard, no matter what it is, the principle of win-win or no deal. When there's a loser, everyone loses. Win-win or no deal. The principle of fear. This is a big one. Michael Jordan said fear is an illusion, right? The principle of fear. Fear is contagious, isn't it? And the principle of confidence, that's contagious too. These are principles that we need to understand because they are never changing. You can have all these techniques you want, but if the techniques aren't rooted in the principles, they're not going to produce the maximum or desired effect. So, the lesson today, what are we thinking about? We're talking about principles, the natural laws that govern mankind. And I have to say to myself, is my life in line with these principles, right? Am I seeking excellence? Am I taking personal responsibility? Am I developing myself? Am I building relationships and trust in my life, right? Am I building value in my life? Am I living with confidence or am I living with fear? These principles, when I know them and I self-examine and I seek them, will help me reach a bigger high, will help me achieve the goals I want to achieve and become a benefit to others. I'm David Lowe, and I just want to encourage all of you. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to get up today and decide to be better today than you were yesterday. Seek excellence.